With excellent entertainment skills, Lu Ku traveled to a parallel world and became a male guest on a love show. Most importantly, the female guest turned out to be a popular little flower. Keywords of the novel. Superstars start from love variety shows without pop-ups. Superstars start from love variety shows with full TXT collection download. Superstars start from love variety shows with the latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Love Program. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Love Program. Ding Lingling. A piercing phone ringtone woke up Lu Ku. Hey, who is that? Taking out his phone from the bedside, Lu Ku yawned and asked. Mr. Lu, we'll be at your apartment in an hour. Are you ready? The sound coming from the phone stunned Lu Ku. 1 hour to my house. What does it mean? Before Lu Ku could react, he felt a sharp pain in his brain, and then a wave of information flooded into his mind. Did I actually cross over? After absorbing the memories in his mind, Lu Ku's face was both surprised and happy. Like countless time travel novels, Lu Ku has traveled to a parallel world that is paradoxical to the Earth, a parallel world without classic novels, songs, and films from his past life. Coincidentally, Lu Ku's mind was filled with these entertainment knowledge. Coincidentally, Lu Ku also comes with a full level of entertainment skills. Singing, acting, directing, screenwriting, dancing, composing, writing lyrics, calligraphy, painting. As long as there are skills related to the entertainment industry, Lu Ku has already reached the full level. Is this the rhythm of me slaughtering novice villages with a full-level boss? Recalling the entertainment skills and knowledge in his mind, Lu Ku was extremely excited. Hello, Mr. Lu, can you hear me? With the call coming from the other person on the phone, Lu Ku finally snapped out of his imagination and quickly replied, I'm here. The signal was a bit off just now. It's okay, I just wanted to let you know that the production team will be at your house soon. I hope you're ready. Speaking on the phone. Well, okay, I got it. I'm ready now. After chatting a few more words, Lu Ku hung up the phone. Love programs. After hanging up the phone, a smile appeared on Lu Ku's face. I learned from my memory that my predecessor was selected as a male guest by a hypothetical love program called Come Love on Nanxiang TV, and today is the official recording day of the program. I just don't know who the female guest is, whether she is an ordinary person like me or a celebrity in the entertainment industry. Thinking of meeting the female guest soon, Lu Ku couldn't help but feel a bit curious about her. By the way. Suddenly, Lu Ku thought of something and quickly came to the mirror. It's okay, it's okay. Looking at the handsome face of Sword Eyebrow Star in the mirror, Lu Ku breathed a sigh of relief and said, although it may not match his 100% appearance in his previous life, giving this face a 95 is still acceptable. After smelling in the mirror for a while, Lu Ku observed where he was. Clean and tidy. This is Lu Ku's first impression. It's unbelievable that a otaku can still tidy up the house so clean. Looking at the spotless desk, Lu Ku was amazed. I learned from my memory that my predecessor was a 23-year-old online writer who had been living alone since my parents passed away in a car accident at the age of 18. Next, Lu Ku flipped through some of his predecessor's diaries according to his memory, and after learning more about him, he heard the doorbell ring. Opening the door, Lu Ku saw a photographer and a program director appear at the entrance. Mr. Lu, are you ready? The director spoke up and asked. Well, that's it. Glancing at the nearby camera, Lu Ku said slightly hesitantly. Although he has excellent entertainment skills, he still feels a bit overwhelmed when facing the camera for the first time. Don't worry, our photographer won't affect you. Seeing Lu Ku's restraint, the director smiled and said, when recording the program later, just pretend he doesn't exist. I'll try my best. Lu Ku nodded. The director also knew that this kind of thing could only be adapted slowly, so he didn't say much and took Lu Ku to the program team's own car. Entering the car, the director introduced himself and said, "Mr. Lu, my name is Wang Yu. You can call me Xiao Wang. I will be your full-time director during the filming process of the program. If you have any questions, you can directly tell me." Good Lu Ku took a deep breath and tried to avoid looking at several cameras in the car. In order to divert Lu Ku's attention and start the program process, Wang Yu asked outside the camera, "Mr. Lu, do you know who the female guest who will be meeting you later is?" Upon hearing this, Lu Ku showed an absurd expression and said, "Please, I've been wanting to know about the information of the female guest for a long time. Is it okay that the program team has been keeping it from me? How could you still ask me?" Hearing Lu Ku's roast, Wang Yu smiled, just as Lu Ku said, it was because they had been hiding the information from Lu Ku's female guests. However, although Lu Ku roasted that the program process had to continue, he then asked, "If you can guess, who do you think the female guests will be? What person?" Looking at Wang Yu's deliberately teasing expression, Lu Ku's heart moved and he was slightly surprised, saying, "Aren't you looking for a female celebrity to come over? You should know that on Earth, love programs also emerged as celebrity and amateur pairing after several generations of development." Lu Ku did not expect that the program team of Come and Love would directly reach the goal. That's right. Wang Yu was also somewhat surprised that Lu Ku could guess this answer. After all, it was their first time that this time and space celebrity and amateur participated in a love program together. He couldn't help but wonder, how did you guess? Confirming that she would be meeting a female celebrity from this world later, Lu Ku's expectations couldn't help but rise a lot. She replied, "Actually, I had guessed before participating in the program that the program team might invite celebrities. After all, there is no contrast or attraction between the love between ordinary people and celebrities." Wang Yu couldn't help but take a surprised look at Lu Ku again. You should know that this was the main idea determined by the program team after a long discussion, but it was exposed by Lu Ku's words. After calming down, Wang Yu asked somewhat unconvinced, "Can you guess which female celebrity the other party is?" "How do you want me to guess? There are so many female celebrities." Lu Ku had a speechless expression. Wang Yu also felt that he was a bit difficult for others, so he said, "All right, you can ask me 3 questions related to the identity of the female guest to help narrow down the scope." After thinking for a moment, Lu Ku asked the first question. "Is the female guest a singer or an actress?" "Actors." "Does she have any movies or TV shows broadcasted this year?" "Yes, and it's very popular." "Very popular." Lu Ku looked at Wang Yu suspiciously and said, "Are you not lying to me? If the female guest's play is very popular, will she have time to participate in the variety show? You should know that the competition among female celebrities in the entertainment industry is quite fierce. After all, the most suitable time for filming is only a few years. Are you doubting the attractiveness of our program team?" Wang Yu asked with a hashtag character on his forehead, deliberately speaking in an unfriendly tone, "No, no." Lu Ku hurriedly smiled and shook his head, then asked, "The last question, how long has she been debuting?" Wang Yu blinked and said, 20 years. "How much?" Upon hearing this answer, Lu Ku was shocked and said, "Do you think the female guest has been in the industry for 20 years? The face of Aunt Shiman slowly appeared in Lu Ku's mind. It seemed to know what Lu Ku was thinking, but Wang Yu smiled and said, "More precisely, it was 20.3 years. 2. 10. 3. Years." Lu Ku repeated word by word, unsure of what expression to make. According to the calculation of debut at the age of 18, 23 years of debut is equivalent to 41 years old. Seeing Lu Ku's expression, Wang Yu deliberately dug a hole and asked, "Why, Mr. Lu, don't you like sibling love?" No, I don't care about siblings' love or anything, but..." Lu Ku's face showed a hint of helplessness. "The key is that I'm only 23 years old this year." Wang Yu suppressed a smile and continued, "All right, all 3 questions have been asked. Can you guess the identity of the female guest, Mr. Lu? Lu Ku was about to say that he couldn't guess when he suddenly saw Wang Yu's smiling expression. A thought flashed through his mind, and a name appeared in his mind. He blurted out, Li Chutong. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Cloud Thinking Clothes and Flower Thinking Appearance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Cloud Thinking Clothes and Flower Thinking Appearance. Li Chutong, who debuted at the age of 5, is a famous child star in China and has appeared in many films and TV dramas. Because in previous years, she played various roles as a daughter in many movies and TV dramas, and was also praised by the media as a daughter of the nation. Of course, as she grew older and her appearance gradually improved, she upgraded from a national daughter to a national first love. Without him, Li Chutong is really too beautiful. In addition, her outgoing personality and sometimes straightforward image of speaking without thinking have also earned her countless male fans on the basis of many female fans. This year, with the popularity of the ancient costume fantasy drama, Jade Glass, starring her as the female lead, Li Chutong's fame has exploded, and the popularity has spread from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. Its title has also been upgraded directly from National First Love to National Goddess. Everyone knows that, if nothing unexpected happens, Li Chutong has already won the title of Annual Popular Actress of the Year 6 months ahead of schedule. Wait, no, it can't be Li Chutong. Although Li Chutong's qualifications were well suited for answering the 3 questions, especially in the field of 23 years of debut, Lu Ku immediately changed his tune. Because Li Chutong is so popular that he doesn't believe he will star in a romantic variety show. Despite the many differences between this world called Blue Star and Earth, the principle that popular idols cannot fall in love remains the same. Especially in the past few years, and Li Chutong had fame but did not have any well-known representative works, Lu Ku felt that after the popularity of Jade Glass, Li Chutong should take on more roles and consolidate his position. How could he possibly participate in variety shows or fake love shows that have lost fans? Looking at Lu Ku's expression, Wang Yu seemed to know what he was thinking and asked, why can't it be Li Chutong? Because she is now in the prime, she should. Lu Kegong was about to express his analysis when he saw an inexplicable meaning in Wang Yu's eyes. He couldn't help but stop talking, opened his eyes wide, and didn't dare to speak up. Hey, don't tell me that the female guest is really Li Chutong, right? After saying these words, Lu Ku's fists tightened slightly with nervousness. Of course, Lu Ku doesn't care much about Li Chutong's fame. What Lu Ku cares about is Li Chutong's appearance. You should know that due to time travel, Lu Ku's brain memory has been strengthened, so he remembers various types of beautiful women deeply in his mind. But even with memories from 2 worlds, in Lu Ku's view, Li Chutong's beauty can rank in the top 3 in this beautiful entertainment industry. Having a relationship with a beautiful woman of this level, even if it's just a show, Lu Ku couldn't help but feel excited. Looking at Lu Ku's hopeful and slightly nervous expression, Wang Yu smiled slightly and deliberately teased, you'll know when you get to the restaurant later, won't you? Wow, you. Lu Ku shook his head, sighed, and smiled, if this is not recording a program, I will definitely call you to the corner to let you know what social beating is. Upon hearing Lu Ku's witty words, Wang Yu's eyes couldn't help but brighten. As a program director, his intuition told him that if he handled this sentence well, it could be included in the trailer to attract the attention of many viewers. At the same time, the voice of the program director also came from his earphone. This Lu Ku has a good reaction and he has a lot of charm. Let's continue to ask him a few more questions. Wang Yu nodded and asked again, Mr. Lu, do you like Li Chutong? Of course I do. Lu Ku glanced at Wang Yu speechlessly and said, National Goddess, who doesn't like it? Don't you like it? So why do you like her? Wang Yu asked again. Of course it's beautiful. Lu Ku blurted out an answer. Cough. Wang Yu choked on Lu Ku's straightforward answer and didn't know how to answer. After a pause, he said again, "Is there no other reason?" "Other reasons?" After thinking for a moment, Lu Ke candidly said, "It's gone." Wang Yu couldn't say anything at this moment, so he had to remind him, "Mr. Lu, if the female guest is really Li Chutong, then her parents, relatives, and friends are sitting in the comments section." "Ah, sorry." Upon hearing these words, Lu Ke immediately sat up upright and sincerely said to the camera, "Uncle and Auntie, I'm sorry. Actually, what I said earlier was just a joke. Miss Li Chutong is not only beautiful, but also a very excellent girl. She has a kind character, treats people kindly, and is dedicated to work. Her strengths are countless, and it is my greatest honor to participate in the program with her." Listening to Lu Ke's long string of rainbow farts, Wang Yu was speechless. But at this moment, he also realized that Lu Ke seemed very interesting, so he deliberately asked again, "Mr. Lu, after talking about so many advantages of Li Chutong, what do you think is the most attractive thing about Li Chutong to you?" Pretty Lu Ke's answer was decisive. "Ha ha ha." In the comments section that Lu Ke couldn't see, host Xiao Gang laughed heartily and asked a refined middle-aged man next to him, "Professor Li, what do you think of Lu Ke's answer as a male guest?" The middle-aged man is none other than Li Chutong's father, Li Wenchang. Upon hearing Xiao Gang's words, Li Wenchang pushed his glasses and smiled, saying, "This answer is okay, pass it. Can we all pass this?" Upon hearing this, Yang Yu, an emotional observer on the side, couldn't help but ask, "Professor Li, don't you think this answer is too frivolous?" "Xiaoye, why do you think this answer is frivolous?" Xiao Gang asked, "Is it because Lu Ke only saw the appearance of Li Chutong?" "Yeah." Yang Yu nodded and said, "If a boy's evaluation of a girl is only about whether she is good or not, and whether she is pretty or not, I would think this boy is very frivolous. But after all, Lu Ke has never had contact with Li Chutong before. Isn't he only able to look at his appearance?" Xiao Gang deliberately asked. "But that's Li Chutong." Yang Yu retorted, "It's obvious from the male guest's reaction that he knows about Chutong's sister, so how could he not know about Chutong's sister's other information?" "What about Professor Li?" Xiao Gang turned his head and continued to ask Li Wenchang, "Why did you just pass Lu Ke's answer?" As Teacher Xiao said, after all, the male guest has not had any contact with Chutong, so it is normal for him not to understand. Li Wenchang explained, "And after all, they are praising my daughter. I can't give her a failing grade, can I?" "Oh, so this pass is a face-saving score." Xiao Gang nodded knowingly and pretended to whisper to Yang Yu, "Actually, Professor Li is not very satisfied with this answer in his heart." Li Wenchang smiled and didn't speak, clearly indicating a tacit intention. Yang Yu urged, "Isn't the video still unfinished? Let's continue watching. Does Lu Ke not know that his answer is somewhat inappropriate?" "He certainly knows, but he did it intentionally, just to lead to the next reversal." Seeing Wang Yu looking somewhat unsure of what to say, Lu Ke retorted, "Am I right? Don't you think Li Chutong is beautiful?" "Of course it's beautiful. Wang Yu can only answer this way." "That's right." Lu Ke explained seriously, "If I were Li Chutong's friend, of course I wouldn't focus on her appearance. I would definitely mention some of her other strengths, but all of my knowledge about Li Chutong comes from the internet. To be honest, I really don't know if that information is true or if her company is hyping up her persona. So, I can only say my most confirmed strength about Li Chutong. Her beauty." Comment section. "How about it, Yang Yu?" Xiao Gang raised his eyebrows and asked Yang Yu, "What do you think of Lu Ke's words?" Yang Yu opened his mouth to refute, but in the end, he said, "Okay, I think what he said is quite reasonable. After all, there are indeed many celebrities in the circle whose personalities differ by 100 or 8,000 miles from their own, and it is normal for male guests to suspect." Upon hearing Yang Yu's sensitive answer, Xiao Gang decisively chose to avoid and turned to ask Li Wenchang, Professor Li, what about you? Well, the answer this time is that you can really pass the test. Li Wenchang also nodded and said, from this explanation, the young man is still very pragmatic. Yes. Yang Yu also raised his hand in agreement. Lu Ku was naturally unaware of the change in his perception among the comments, so he continued to follow his own plan. I'm actually a bit embarrassed to say it, Lu Qifeng looked shy and said, after reading Li Chutong's Jade Glazed Glass, I was impressed by her beauty and even wrote a poem for her. Write poetry for Li Chutong. Wang Yu looked delighted and quickly asked, what poem? A 7-character regulated poem. Lu Ku replied. How is poetry written? Wang Yu asked. Poetry goes like this. Lu Ku muttered in his heart, Tai Bai De Shen, I'm sorry, I'm going to open a copy. Immediately, he recited aloud. Clouds think of clothes, flowers think of faces, the spring breeze brushes against the threshold, revealing a rich dew. If it weren't for meeting at the head of the Jade Mountain, I will meet under the moon at Yao Tai. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. I Raise You. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 3. I Raise You. As soon as Lu Ku wrote this poem, Wang Yu was stunned. Although this was his first time hearing this poem, and even the meanings of a few nouns could not be accurately understood, it did not prevent him from developing a beautiful feeling towards this poem. As Lu Ku's words fell, it seemed as if a graceful Lingbo fairy had appeared in his mind. It's not just Wang Yu, but when Lu Ku recited this poem, the comments section was also silent. After a while, Yang Yu sighed softly and said, wow, this poem is so beautiful. Yes, just listening makes people feel like they have seen a fairy with their own eyes. Xiao Gang also nodded in agreement. At this moment, he suddenly thought of something and turned to look at Li Wenchang, asking, Professor Li, I remember you seem to be a professor in the Department of Literature at Peking University. Can you judge the level of this poem with a professional perspective? Li Wenchang shook his head and sighed, I don't think I can judge. I can't judge, why? Xiao Gang asked curiously. Because the level of this poem is not within my reach. Li Wenchang explained with a somewhat complicated expression. Upon hearing Li Wenchang's words, Xiao Gang and Yang Yu exchanged a glance, both seeing disbelief in each other's eyes. You should know that Li Wenchang is a professor in the Department of Literature at Qingtian University, and his literary skills already belong to the top group of people in China. However, this poem by Lu Ku even makes him feel inferior. Professor Li, are you not joking? Yang Yu asked incredulously, is this poem so powerful? What's more? Li Wenchang pointed to the entire poem typed out on the TV screen in front of him and said excitedly, the latter 2 couplets are fine, but it's the first sentence of this poem that showcases Lu Ku's literary skills to the fullest. Do clouds think of clothes, flowers think of appearance? Yang Yu looked puzzled and said, what's good about this sentence? The good thing is that the word think is good. Li Wenchang looked at the poem with admiration and said, it's not an exaggeration to say that just the word think has elevated the artistic style of the entire poem to a higher level. After speaking, seeing Yang Yu and Xiao Gang both feeling a bit confused, Li Wenchang asked, do you think this poem is beautiful? Beauty. Yang Yu nodded affirmatively, then awkwardly scratched his head and said, but I can't explain the reason. Can't you explain the reason? Li Wenchang seemed to be teaching students in class, patiently guiding them, just replace the word think with the word like, and you'll understand. Is it changed to the character like, dot? Yang Yu looked at this poem and said, clouds are like clothes, flowers are like rong. Clouds think of clothes, flowers are like rong. Her eyes suddenly widened in disbelief and she said, ah, really ah. Professor Li, this poem gives me a completely different feeling. At this moment, Xiao Gang also understood and asked thoughtfully, Professor Li, is it because the word think is a verb? That's right. Li Wenchang gave Xiao Gang a approving glance and said, although replacing the word think with the word like does not change the meaning of the entire poem much, the artistic conception is completely different. Because the word want endows the originally ordinary things of clouds and flowers with a personality, do you think that the persuasiveness of clouds seeing her wanting to become her clothes and flowers seeing her wanting to have her appearance suddenly becomes much stronger? Amazing, amazing. The final, remarkable, is actually talking about Lu Ku. After listening to Li Wenchang's explanation, Yang Yu said somewhat unconvinced, but Professor Li, since you can see the meaning of the word think at a glance, why do you give this poem such a high evaluation? Ha ha ha. Li Wenchang smiled and said, this is the difference between thinking and doing. Although I can see the mystery of the word think at a glance, if you really ask me to write it, I'm afraid I will still use the word like, and I won't even think about the effect of changing the word, let alone use the word think. Xiao Gang agreed, it's like food critics, they can comment on a dish from various perspectives such as color, aroma, and taste, but if they were to become chefs themselves, it would be almost boring. That's the truth. Li Wenchang looked at Lu Ku in the video again and said, this Lu Ku is not simple. Hey, Professor Li, Xiao Gang deliberately joked, are you already acknowledging Li Chudong's boyfriend? Cough cough. Li Wenchang coughed lightly and said, I don't count what I said. The key is to see Chu Tong. The child's meaning is the most important. Oh, Xiao Gang deliberately lengthened his voice and said to Yang Yu, Professor Li means that he personally recognizes Lu Ku, but if Li Chutong doesn't like it, he can only express regret. Oh, Yang Yu deliberately extended his voice to look at Li Wenchang. Li Wenchang pretended not to hear anything and stared intently at the TV. In the screen, a clip of Li Chutong has already started playing. In a luxurious apartment, a beautiful girl wearing home clothes is teasing the little dog in front of her. Laifu, Mom is going out later. You have to be obedient at home, you know. After speaking, the girl deliberately tempted and said, if you haven't caused any trouble at home, I will buy you something delicious when you come back. Woo, woof. Seemingly understanding the girl's words, the little dog lifted its head and excitedly barked twice. Okay, that's settled then. Come on, give me 5. The girl extended her right hand, and the little dog cooperated very well and put its front paw up. At this moment, the program editor next to her asked, Chu Tong, you're going to meet the male guest later. Do you have any requirements for him or your future boyfriend? Actually, there is. Li Chutong held the little dog in his arms and replied, I hope my future boyfriend has good character, after all, I don't want to make friends with bad people. Secondly, I hope he has talent that allows me to learn from him. Finally, cough cough, if possible, he would be perfect if he could be a little more handsome. Comment section. Professor Li, are these 3 requirements that Li Chutong just mentioned also your requirements for her boyfriend? Xiao Gang asked Li Wenchang. Yes, that's also my request. Li Wenchang said, it's best to add another one. One with ambition. Yes. Yang Yu raised his hand and said in agreement, being ambitious is too important. I don't have any expectations for my future boyfriend's income, even if he earns a monthly salary of 3 to 5,000 yuan. But if he doesn't have ambition, even if he earns 100,000 yuan a month, I won't choose. Upon hearing this, Li Wenchang looked at Yang Yu and exclaimed in surprise, your thoughts are very similar to those of Chu Tong. She also told me that she doesn't value her boyfriend's financial level, even if it's just an ordinary office worker. Did Li Chutong really say that? Xiao Gang was surprised and said, she doesn't think the life of an ordinary office worker will have a big gap with her life. No, Li Wen smiled and said, I asked her the same question before. Do you know how she answered? She said, it's okay if my boyfriend doesn't have money. I can support him. Did Sister Chutong really say that? Yang Yu widened his eyes upon hearing this and said, she said she can support her boyfriend. Yes, that's her exact words. Li Wenchang nodded. My mom. Xiao Gang couldn't believe it and slapped his forehead hard. This is Li Chutong. The dignified national goddess has no financial requirements for her boyfriend and is willing to support him. If it weren't for her father's words, who would believe it? Chutong is too domineering. Yang Yu also looked impressed and smiled. I can guarantee that when this episode airs, the fans of Miss Chutong online will definitely go viral. Yes, you can watch it then. The full screen will be barrage of Li Chutong, I can be your boyfriend. Xiao Gang followed suit to supplement. After a burst of laughter, they saw the video of Lu Ku and Li Chutong meeting. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. First meeting. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 4 First meeting. Mr. Lu, this is the restaurant where you and the female guest first met. After the car stopped, Wang Yu said to Lu Ku. Okay, thank you. Upon hearing this, Lu Ku took a deep breath and got off the car with a slight expectation. Although he had almost confirmed that the female guest was Li Chutong, Wang Yu did not admit it. In addition, he was not particularly familiar with the entertainment and variety shows in this world, so Lu Ku couldn't guarantee that his guess was accurate. Entering the restaurant, Lu Ku found that it had already been booked by the production team, and many staff members were waiting in every corner of the restaurant. Under the guidance of the waiter, Lu Ku sat down at a table. In front of the table, many cameras were simultaneously shooting at Lu Ku. Looking at so many cameras, Lu Ku felt a little uneasy. Looking down at the time, it's 11:10 noon. He and the female guest agreed to meet at 11:30. After waiting for a moment in the chair, Lu Ku suddenly thought of something and asked Wang Yu, Editor Wang, can I go out and wait for the female guest? He felt that sitting in the restaurant and waiting seemed impolite. Of course you can. Wang Yu nodded naturally. I'm really sorry for making you suffer. Looking at the two photographers who were going out with him, Lu Ku apologetically said. It's summer and noon, so shooting outside is much more tiring than indoors. It's okay, it's okay. Upon hearing Lu Ku's apology, the photographer waved his hand to indicate that it was okay. Comment section. Lu Ku's behavior is very commendable. Yang Yu first praised, whether it's waiting for Chutong outside the restaurant or apologizing to the photographer, it's very polite. Yes. Li Wenchang also nodded with a smile and said, I think those who can write poetry like, cloud thinks of clothes, flowers think of appearance, will definitely be very cultured themselves. Do you see it, Yang Yu? Xiao Gang joked, people say, the mother.in.law likes her son.in.law the more she looks at him, but we're doing the opposite. Yang Yu cooperated mischievously and said, is this the legendary literati who sympathize with each other? Li Wenchang's face turned slightly red when the two of them said, watch the video, watch the video. Xiao Gang and Yang Yu both laughed at the sight. Lu Ku naturally didn't know that his behavior had left a good impression on Li Chutong's father. After he arrived outside the restaurant, he patiently waited for the arrival of the female guest. Fortunately, it was not far from the agreed time at this moment. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, Lu Ku saw a commercial MPV from the production team driving over from a distance. This should be the female guest's car, right? Lu Ku asked Wang Yu beside him. Wang Yu nodded. Have you not told me the identity of the female guest yet? Lu Ku asked again. You'll know soon, won't you? Wang Yu still keeps playing tricks. Lu Ku was still trying to say something when he saw that the car had already arrived in front of the restaurant. Without further ado, he quickly walked a few steps to a nearby spot in front of the car and waited. Click. With the soft sound of the car door, Lu Ku saw a stunning woman wearing a light blue dress and flowing green silk slowly getting out of the car. The woman's skin is fairer than snow, her eyebrows are as blue as the distant mountains, and her lacquered eyes flow in the blink of an eye, capturing the soul. Although the blue dress appears slightly loose, due to the woman's overly proud figure, she still vividly outlines her devilish curves, making one cannot help but marvel at how the creator is so biased, concentrating all the beauty in the world on one person. Women are not outsiders, they are the popular actresses in this world, known as the national goddess Li Chutong. Hello. I'm the male guest we're meeting this time, Lu Ku. Even though Lu Ku already knew Li Chutong's appearance in his memory, he couldn't help but be intimidated by her stunning and extraordinary appearance after seeing the real person. After a pause, he fluently introduced himself. Hello, I'm Li Chutong. Seeing Lu Ku's handsome appearance, Li Chutong also smiled the first mock examination and shook hands with Lu Ku gently. Comment section. Teacher Xiao, do you think that Lu Ku and Li Chutong have very good looks? Yang Yu suddenly spoke up and said, they seem to be acting in an idol drama. I also have this feeling. They were at that station, with handsome men and beautiful women, like a pair of golden boys and jade girls, right? Xiao Gang also repeatedly agreed. Li Wenchang, who had not yet spoken well of Lu Ku, shook his head and said, appearance is actually not important. Yang Yu blinked at the words and asked, Professor Li, are you jealous? What jealousy do I have? I'm not jealous. Li Wenchang immediately retorted, what I mean is, this appearance is just a skin bag. Making friends is important because of character and talent. Can having a good face be enough to make a living? Despite Li Wenchang's words, Xiao Gang and Yang Yu exchanged a glance and said in unison, that's just being jealous. Li Wenchang. Lu Ku, who was joking in the comments section, naturally didn't know that even if it was fake, he was secretly excited for a while after confirming that he was about to have a hypothetical love affair with Li Chutong. It wasn't until the two of them entered the restaurant that Lu Ku regained his initial calmness. Seeing Lu Ku's calm expression, Li Chutong was secretly surprised. Although she has never actively promoted the title of national goddess, Li Chutong has a clear understanding of her popularity in China. Moreover, even if one sets aside their celebrity or a bonus, how could someone be so indifferent based solely on their appearance? Is it because this person has too much confidence, or is it because they are trying to escape and pretend to be like this? Various thoughts flashed through Li Chutong's mind, and he deliberately asked, Mr. Lu, do you know who I am? You. Lu Ku blinked and asked curiously, aren't you a mortal fairy with 100 flowers? In this year's highly acclaimed Jade Glass, Li Chutong played the role of the 100 Flowers Fairy. Wow, Mr. Lu, you're very talkative. Upon hearing Lu Ku's answer, Li Chutong couldn't help but laugh, but then he stuck out his tongue and said, but this makes me feel very embarrassed. It makes me seem very narcissistic, Seeing Li Chutong's straightforward way of speaking, Lu Ku couldn't help but develop a certain liking for her. You should know that Li Chutong is now a popular actress, and there is inevitably a bit of pride on her body, but Lu Ku did not feel any sense of pride from her. But you did bring the character of the 100 Flowers Fairy to life. Lu Ku sincerely said, I think you and the 100 Flowers Fairy have achieved each other's success. He said this seriously. Judging from his excellent directing and screenwriting skills, the overall quality of the drama, Jade Glass, is not really high. However, because the roles of Li Chutong and the 100 Flowers Fairy are so compatible, it saved the drama and earned Li Chutong the title of national goddess. Thank you for your compliment. Seeing the seriousness in Lu Ku's eyes, Li Chutong also expressed his gratitude seriously. Later, she asked with some embarrassment, sorry, I haven't consulted yet. Mr. Lu, what kind of job do you do? I am a writer. Lu Ku introduced himself. A writer. Li Chutong's eyes showed curiosity and said, if you have the opportunity, be sure to read your masterpiece. Don't worry, my previous works were too bad and I couldn't bear to watch them myself. Upon hearing this, Lu Ku quickly waved his hand. With his current level of writing skills, he couldn't even read the online novels written by his predecessor, so he refused directly. If Lu Ku was just humbly evading, Li Chutong knew how to say it, but she could see that Lu Ku really didn't want to let herself see his previous works, which left Li Chutong feeling a bit confused. Lu Ku also noticed this and quickly said, "However, I am currently preparing a new book. I think the quality of this book should be good, so I can invite you to take a look." This sentence is naturally a random fabrication by Lu Ku. After crossing over, he hasn't had a chance to plan his future life well. However, with full-level entertainment skills and countless classic novels on Earth, Lu Ku can easily achieve this sentence. "Okay, then I'm looking forward to your new work." Li Chutong breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing the words and quickly answered. At this moment, Wang Yu beside him said to Li Chutong, "Actually, before participating in the program, Lu Ku even wrote a poem for the 100 Flowers Fairy you played." End of this chapter. Chapter 5. End of first recording. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. End of first recording. Write poetry for me. Li Chutong looked at Lu Ku in surprise. Lu Qifeng nodded awkwardly and said, "The fairy you played, the 100 Flowers Fairy, really impressed me. So I felt a sense of it and casually wrote a small poem by doodling." He spoke humbly, but Li Chutong keenly saw his confidence in this poem from Lu Ku's eyes, so he said, "How was this poem written? Let me take a look." Lu Ku naturally couldn't refuse, and after a few humble sentences, he recited the poem. "Clouds think of clothes, flowers think of appearance, clouds think of clothes, flowers think of faces, the spring breeze brushes against the threshold, revealing a rich dew. If it weren't for meeting at the head of the Jade Mountain, meeting under the moon at Yaotai." Listening to Lu Ku recite the complete poem, Li Chutong was completely stunned. "Clouds think of clothes, flowers think of faces." She murmured and repeated the poem in a low voice, as if a graceful 9 heavenly fairy had truly appeared before her. Although she did not learn much literary knowledge from the father of a literature professor due to her debut as a child star, her ability to appreciate literature is not inferior under the influence of her daily life. Although it was only the first time she saw this poem, like Li Wenchang, Li Chutong immediately realized that the quality of this poem was surprisingly high. And this poem was written for me. After a while, Li Chutong finally regained her senses. Her eyes flickered as she looked at Lu Ku with an inexplicable expression. She confirmed and asked again, "Mr. Lu, do you really want to give me this poem?" "Of course." Lu Ku nodded with a smile. From memory, it is known that Li Chutong has a very good reputation. After 23 years of debut, there is almost no black material. This is also why Lu Ku presented this poem to her. If Li Chutong's reputation is not good, even if her appearance is stunning, Lu Ku will not use this timeless famous poem to ruin it. "Thank you, really thank you." Upon receiving a positive answer from Lu Ku, Li Chutong sincerely thanked him. Being able to obtain poetry of this level, even though it is known as the national goddess, Li Chutong also felt a heartfelt joy. "By the way, Mr. Lu, what is the name of this poem?" Li Chutong asked curiously. "If you don't mind." Lu Ku glanced at Li Chutong and said, "How about calling it Gifted Chutong? Ah, this." Upon hearing this name, Li Chutong's cheeks blushed slightly. Although she likes this poem very much, the straightforward title still makes her a bit shy, and she vaguely feels that she may not be worthy of it. Just as she hesitated to ask Lu Ku to rename her, she saw her agent on the side winking at her forcefully, signaling to quickly agree. Li Chutong knew that the agent should have realized the artistic level of this poem. Once he developed a relationship with this classic poem, it would have an unparalleled impact on his popularity, taking his popularity to the next level. Li Chutong couldn't help but hesitate upon seeing this. After thinking for a moment, Li Chutong couldn't resist his love for this poem. He nodded and said, "Of course I don't mind using my name. I'm just afraid I don't deserve the quality of this poem." "Well deserved, well deserved." Lu Ku said seriously, as the saying goes, Heroes with swords, this good poem naturally needs to be paired with beauties. If someone else said such things, it would appear frivolous and greasy, but due to Lu Ke's sincere tone and the fact that Yun Xiang's clothes and flowers are like his appearance, were originally written by him, Li Chutong only felt a burst of happiness. Comment section. Professor Li, what do you think of the title of the poem presenting Chu Tong? Xiao Gang smiled and asked Li Wenchang. Ahem, objectively speaking, this poem title is somewhat inappropriate. Li Wenchang said awkwardly, I can say without hesitation that Lu Ke's poem is a classic masterpiece that can be passed down for 100 years or even longer. As for Chu Tong, although she is excellent, she is still inferior to this poem. Professor Li, you are too modest. Li Chutong is already an excellent actor. I think it goes well with this poem. Xiao Gang naturally wants to praise Li Chutong. Yeah. Yang Yu also agreed, and the title of this poem was chosen by the original author. Lu Ke said it's not a problem, so of course it's not a problem. Not suitable, not suitable. Li Wenchang naturally hoped that this classic poem, which had been passed down, could have a relationship with his daughter. However, he had some literary demeanor and couldn't say the heartless words of, the name of the poem matches his daughter very well, so he had to blush and shake his head constantly. Seeing this, Xiao Gang naturally wouldn't continue to embarrass Li Wenchang and calmly shifted the topic. Over here. With the idea of naming Lu Ke Ci Chu Tong, the atmosphere between the two of them became much more harmonious, chatting and chatting while eating. As they chatted, Li Chutong was surprised to find that the knowledge in Lu Ke's mind seemed to be all-encompassing. When it comes to acting, Lu Ke is familiar with various genres of acting. Talking about variety shows, Lu Ke has a clear understanding of the highlights of the program. Talking about zodiac signs, Lu Ke can easily grasp the characteristics of each zodiac sign. Talking about literature, Lu Ke has a unique understanding of classic works. The most crucial thing is that Lu Ke is very humorous when speaking, always able to vividly and wittily explain various seemingly boring things, making listeners feel bored at all. So, the two of them ate this simple Western meal for over 2 hours. Mr. Lu, to be honest, I really doubt what you don't know in this world. After lunch, Li Chutong praised from the bottom of her heart as she was about to part ways. Don't say that, there's still a lot I don't know. Lu Ke smiled slightly and pointed to Li Chutong's hand, saying, for example, if you ask me what type of nail art your manicure belongs to, I'll have to stare. Ha ha ha. Upon hearing this, Li Chutong immediately laughed and joked, I suddenly feel much more confident when you say that. Lu Ke smiled and shrugged his shoulders. So. Li Chutong extended his right hand and said, Mr. Lu, see you tomorrow. According to the program rules, the first date between the two will last for 3 days. See you tomorrow. Lu Ke gently grasped Li Chutong's hand. Comment section. Professor Li, can you tell anything from this date? Xiao Gang asked Li Wenchang, for example, Li Chutong's perception of Lu Ke. From the existing videos, I think Chu Tong's impression of this boy should be very good. Li Wenchang replied. Why do you say that? Xiao Gang continued to ask. Look at this meal they ate for over 2 hours. Li Wenchang explained, Chutong's personality is very straightforward. If it weren't for her own willingness, this meal would have stood up at most half an hour and said it was over. Ah, yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Upon hearing this, Yang Yu immediately agreed and said, oh my goodness, it's been over 2 hours. This is the first time Sister Chutong and Lu Ke have met, and they've been together for 2 hours without a cold shoulder. It's outrageous. From the program editing, it seems that Lu Ke is very good at chatting. Recalling the video just now, Xiao Gang analyzed and said, didn't it show on the subtitles that Lu Ke and Li Chutong talked about acting skills, zodiac signs, and even some gossip about the entertainment industry? If Lu Ke didn't know how to chat, it might have ended long ago. Well, yes. Li Wenchang said, otherwise, when they parted ways, Qutong wouldn't have praised Lu Ku for knowing too much. In that case, Lu Ku will earn extra points. Xiao Gang said, "Look at the other two groups of guests. They had a lot of awkward conversations during their first meeting. Yes, when I watched their video just now, I was so embarrassed that I almost dug out a castle with my toes." Yang Yu pretended to shiver uncontrollably. Yes, but when it came to Li Qutong and his group, the art style suddenly changed. Xiao Gang smiled and said, "Look at the two of them, either they are writing poetry, or they are eating and gossiping together. This is not the first time we've met, it's clearly a gathering of good friends." No wonder Professor Li said that Sister Qutong's perception of Lu Ku is not bad. Yang Yu shook his fingers and said, "Lu Ku can write poetry, chat, and he is also handsome. Such a boy is already very attractive." Okay, so it seems that the couple Li Qutong and Lu Ku have hoped to continue their journey. So, how will they develop in the future? Let's wait and see. Xiao Gang made a final summary. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Demonic Transformation of Youth by Qingtian. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Demonic Transformation of Youth by Qingtian. Is Li Qutong participating in the program Come and Love to increase her popularity, or is she really looking to start a relationship? On the way back, Lu Ku fell into contemplation. To be honest, if Li Qutong is willing, he doesn't mind starting a relationship with him at all. The reason is, cough cough, anyone who understands. But on the contrary, if Li Qutong only participates in the program for announcement fees, then Lu Ku is not prepared to continue presenting classic entertainment works from his past life in subsequent programs. The reason why he brought out the Tai by Great God's Qingping tune today is not only to satisfy the passerby's desire to pretend, but also to arouse Li Qutong's curiosity. After all, if it's just based on appearance, Lu Ku doesn't think that Li Qutong, who is used to seeing handsome men and beautiful women in the entertainment industry, would look up to him. Only by showcasing her dazzling talents can she attract the other person to continue dating her. From the effect created by this poem, Lu Ku felt that Li Qutong was obviously also attracted to him. However, the extent of this effect is unknown to Lu Ku. Forget it, there are still 2 days left before making a decision. Let's take it slow. After thinking for a while, Lu Ku couldn't figure out what Li Qutong was thinking, so he decided not to think about it. Returning home, Lu Ku ordered takeout and began to contemplate his future path. Firstly, Lu Ku is very certain that he wants to make money. Excluding the apartment he lives in, his total income is only over 50,000 yuan. Making money is the first factor that Lu Ku considers. Secondly, it is how to make money. All the skills I currently possess are related to entertainment, and I have countless earth classics in my mind. Obviously, entering the entertainment industry is the best answer. Just how can I make money quickly? Lu Ku frowned and pondered. Writing poetry. Singing. Filming. Writing a book. Because the entertainment industry in this world is very developed, Lu Ku is not worried at all about not making money, but rather hesitates about which profession to start with. Let's start with writing a book. After considering for a while, Lu Ku felt that he still chose to write a book. The reason is simple. The cost of writing a book is the lowest, just one computer and one internet cable are enough. After deciding to start writing a book, Lu Ku opened a website called Fate Literature, which was also the literary website that was previously signed. On this website, my predecessor had written several online novels, but none of them were exceptional. The best performing one, with only 800 subscribers per book. You should know that in this world with a strong sense of authenticity, subscribing to 1,000 belongs to Pak Street, not to mention the predecessor who didn't even have 1,000. Oh, this is soliciting essays. As soon as Lu Ku opened the website, a essay advertisement popped up in front of him. Mystery novel essay. Lu Ku clicked in and found that it was a essay solicitation activity initiated by the Origin Literature Network, mainly collecting suspense and detective novels. However, when Lu Ku carefully read the ranking list of the essay solicitation activity, he was surprised to find that almost all the novels on this list were ghost-like, with a small portion being spiritual revival. As for detective novels, there was none. After searching in his mind, Lu Ku suddenly realized that detective novels were already very rare in the world of China. At least there is a category of suspense and mystery on the Origin Literature website, while other literary websites do not have this category of mystery novels at all. This may be an opportunity. Upon seeing this, Lu Ku's eyes lit up and his mind flashed with famous detective works such as Sherlock Holmes, Agatha, Kazuchi Kanda, and Conan. To copy. Cough cough, what should I write? Looking at the essay advertisement in front of him, Lu Ku fell into contemplation. Due to the similarity between this world and the Earth, he cannot copy many famous Earth detective novels and needs to make some changes on the original basis. Fortunately, Lu Ku has excellent writing skills, which is not a difficult task for him. However, despite this, being able to choose works with fewer changes, Lu Ku still wants to be a bit lazy. After considering for a while, Lu Ku felt that it was best to write an ancient costume detective novel or a detective novel with an empty background. The former is because the ancient times of this world have not changed much compared to the Earth, and as for detective novels, what is important is not the historicity, but the solving story. Even if there are some omissions, no one cares. The latter is even simpler, directly creating a fictional world and eliminating the possibility of bugs from the root. Well, it's better to write historical detective novels, as the sense of immersion will be deeper. After thinking for a while, Lu Ku chose the former because he suddenly thought of a popular ancient costume mystery TV series in his past life, The Young Boy Bao Qingtian. Although it was later discovered that many of the plot designs in The Young Boy Bao Qingtian were plagiarized from foreign comics or novels, it cannot be denied that when the TV series was first released, its ingenious ideas and suspenseful plot settings caused a great sensation and were hailed as a legendary drama. But unfortunately, Bao Zheng in this world seems to be a little weak. Lu Ku searched online and found that there was indeed an official named Bao Zheng in the Song dynasty of this world, but he was just an ordinary Song official without any special features. There are no legends such as Righteousness, Dog Head Chopper, and 3 Heroes and 5 Righteousness. It looks like changing the background. Lu Ku rubbed the corners of his eyes. Bao Qingtian's heat couldn't withstand it, so Lu Ku had to look for something else. After searching online for a while, Lu Ku suddenly realized that although there was no Bao Qingtian from the Song dynasty in this world, there was an official named Guzhua in the Ming dynasty, known as Gu Qingtian. And similar to the Earth's Bao Qingtian, many strange stories about Guzhua have also emerged among the people, such as the daytime trial of corrupt officials and the night trial of evil spirits. Alright, since Bao Qingtian is gone, then it's you Gu Qingtian. Lu Ku quickly identified the protagonist of his novel. Anyway, it's all about riding on the popularity of the ancients. Regardless of the Song and Ming dynasties, Bao Qingtian and Gu Qingtian can just ride on it. What else do you need a bicycle for? After determining the main character, Lu Ku immediately encounters a new problem. Gu Qingtian has no supporting actors like Gong Sun Su and Zhang Zhao. It is important to know the protagonist of a novel, but one or a group of brilliant supporting role can also add a lot of points to the novel. Do you want to create some fictional supporting role? Lu Ku is a bit indecisive. At this moment, he suddenly realized that Guzhua was actually a fearless figure in folklore, and his wife was a descendant of a general with excellent martial arts skills. Yes, this is a ready supporting role. Upon seeing this news, Lu Ku was overjoyed. You should know that in movies and TV dramas, women are strong and men are weak. Women are responsible for force, and men are responsible for intelligence. However, it is a cliché that is not satisfactory. And with this combination, it can easily write many funny plots, which is very suitable for daily sugar sprinkling in soothing the atmosphere. With the support of his full writing skills, Lu Ke's mind instantly conjured up many classic scenes of strong women and weak men in film and television dramas. That's settled. As for the title of this novel, it's called Young Gu Qingtian. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Chapter 1 Signing of Contract. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Chapter 1 Signing of Contract. Oh, Young Gu Qingtian. As soon as I started working, Nan Qin, the editor of the Literature Network, was immediately attracted by the title, Young Gu Qingtian, while reading the submitted novel. Is this a detective novel? Although she hasn't read the novel yet, because in folklore and literary works, Guzhua is a godlike figure in solving cases, Nanqin still realized at a glance that Young Gu Qingtian may be a rare detective novel in this essay competition. With curiosity, Nanqin clicked to enter. Wipe off the remaining monument and admire Dehui. Millennium Gu Fanjian left a question. The startled bird circling around the courtyard cypress, I still fear the frost and dare not dwell. The quality of this poem is good. Nanqin's eyes were slightly bright. Upon opening the submission, Nanqin was immediately captivated by the small poem at the beginning of the scroll. Especially in the last 2 lines of this poem, a hint of awe struck Nanqin's heart. Although there was no positive description in the poem, Guzhua's upright image still vividly appeared on the paper. I just don't know if this poem was written by the author himself or if it's an excerpt from previous works. If it's the former, then the author has 2 tricks. With this poem as the beginning, Nanqin is also full of anticipation for the upcoming plot. And her expectations did not disappoint. With the help of Lu Ke's advanced writing skills, before she could finish reading a chapter, Nanqin felt as if she had been drawn into the Ming society by Lu Ke's brushstrokes, and a lively Ming dynasty fireworks filled her face. This author's handwriting is simply amazing. Nanqin became more and more shocked as she read it. After working as an editor at the Origin Literature Network for 3 years, she had never seen an author with such mature and sophisticated writing skills before. However, soon she couldn't help but admire Lu Ke's writing style, as the first case had already arrived. In the book, young Guzhua encountered a case while shopping on the street. An oil seller and a pig driver had a dispute. The oil seller claimed that the pig driver had stolen their money, while the pig driver firmly refused to admit it. Neither of the two could convince the other, and in the midst of the argument, they almost started to take action. In this situation, Guzhua stepped forward, but he did not use his meticulous observation to uncover the culprit as expected by Nanqin. Instead, he believed that the person who stole the money might not be a person, but the fat pig, so he proposed to have the pig tried in the street. On the street scrutinizing pigs. Seeing this scene, Nanqin's expectations were completely fulfilled. How should this pig be judged? But just as she was about to continue looking down, she was shocked to find that there was nothing left below. What the hell, this broken chapter is so ruthless. Without giving up, Nanqin refreshed twice and realized that there was indeed no second chapter. She was so anxious that she patted the table. What's wrong, Nanqin? Hearing the sound of Nanqin tapping the table, a colleague beside him asked with concern. It's okay, it's just. Oh, by the way. Nanqin suddenly thought of something and asked her colleague, do you know Gu Qingtian? Gu Qingtian, who doesn't know? My colleague asked strangely, what are you asking this for? No, I was wondering, do you know the story of Gu Qingtian reviewing pigs? Nanqin asked. What, Gu Qingtian scrutinizes pigs? My colleague asked with a bewildered expression, how should this pig be scrutinized? You don't know either, so it seems that this story was originally created by the author himself. Nanqin murmured to herself. What's wrong, why are you asking that? Seeing Nanqin not speaking, a colleague asked. Oh, it's nothing, just seeing a submission. Ah, I haven't approved it yet. Speaking of this, Nanqin suddenly remembered that she was too busy reading articles to even send the approved information to Lu Ku. After sitting down, Nanqin first sent a approved station message to Lu Ku. Just as she was about to exit the operation background, her movement suddenly stopped. How about I send him the signed station message as well? Nanqin hesitated slightly. Due to the highly developed entertainment industry in this world, the signing standards for novels have also been greatly improved. There is an unwritten rule within the Origin Literature website that a signed website message will only be sent out after the author has written 3 chapters. To see more about the author's writing style. Of course, it is also possible to send out a signed website short message just by reading 1 chapter, but in that case, the editor who proposes to sign the contract will have to endorse the future achievements of the work. If the subsequent performance of the work is good, naturally everything is easy to say, but if the subsequent performance of the work is lackluster, the editor who proposes to sign will be deducted a portion of their performance. Should I bring up the signature? Nanqin only thought for a moment before making a decision. One natural reason is that Lu Ku has already demonstrated impressive writing style in this short chapter. Nanqin believes that an author with such writing skills will never slack off. Even if she does, she can still afford to lose after deducting a portion of performance punishment. Secondly, it's Nanqin's little ambition. She is betting on Lu Ku's writing skills, and she is likely to become a god in the future. And once Lu Ku becomes a deity, as a contracted editor, she will follow Lu Ku's rise and fall. With this in mind, Nanqin no longer hesitated and directly clicked on the signing application. Just as she submitted the signing application to the editor-in-chief, a colleague from a distant seat suddenly complained and shouted, "Ah, Nanqin, it's only a few minutes away. Why did you submit the signing application before me?" Because the editor's review of the manuscript requires cross-review, the editor also saw Lu Ku's submission. However, he clearly saw this manuscript a little later than Nanqin, so the submission and signing time was also a bit slower. "Who made your hands move so slowly?" Upon hearing the colleague's complaint, Nanqin breathed a sigh of relief. Since the second editor is also willing to submit the signing application after the first chapter, it clearly proves that her vision is not wrong. Due to the argument between Nanqin and her colleague, other editors became curious about the novel they were competing for and asked one after another. "What book makes both of you so optimistic about it? Yeah, is it some big god's trumpet? Has a new mountain monster appeared?" Nanqin smiled and said, "This book is called Young Gu Qingtian. You can go and read it yourself." After obtaining the answer, the other editors began to check the book in the background. And soon, like Nanqin, they came to a conclusion: from the mature and sophisticated writing style, as well as the clever plot construction, the author of this book is definitely a big shot, even a small account opened by a physical book writer, making a steady profit. Nanqin, who received recognition from many colleagues, was even happier. However, when she refreshed the back end and found that Lu Ku had not yet submitted the content of the second chapter, her inner joy dissipated. Sure enough, a broken chapter dog is just annoying. Nanqin gritted her teeth and drew circles. I completely forgot how many times she had advised other authors to learn to break the chapter when communicating with them. Only in this way can I better retain readers. Nanqin's resentment was naturally unknown to Lu Ku. After writing the content of the first chapter, he rushed by car to the place where he had a second date with Li Chutong. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Pupu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Pupu. After arriving at the assembly point, Lu Ku realized that Li Chutong had already arrived early. "Sorry, I'm sorry, I came late." Lu Ku quickly went over to apologize. "No, I came early." Li Chutong smiled and shook his head, without any dissatisfaction on his face due to his early arrival and Lu Ku's late arrival. Seeing Li Chutong's attitude, Lu Ku couldn't help but have a good impression of her. Not to mention that Li Chutong is a popular female celebrity nowadays, she is just an average girl. If the man arrives later than her on a date, he will have to show off his attitude. Where are we going this time? Seeing Lu Ku appear, Li Chutong asked the staff beside him. We're going to a farm in the suburbs, the staff replied. Didn't you say you wanted to see alpacas before? There are only a few kept there. Really? Then let's go quickly. Upon hearing this, Li Chutong immediately urged, go. Lu Ku and Li Chutong sat side by side at the back. Actually, I have always had a question for you. After the car started, Lu Ku hesitated for a moment and asked, with your current popularity, why do you still participate in variety shows, especially dating shows? Actually, what you want to ask is not why I participated in the program, but whether I genuinely participated in this program, right? Upon hearing Lu Ku's question, Li Chutong smiled and asked. Actually it's about the same. Seeing his purpose at a glance by Li Chutong, Lu Ku felt slightly embarrassed. Li Chutong didn't take the situation too seriously. After a moment of silence, he tilted his head and smiled. If I say I'm participating in the program because I want to fall in love, do you believe me? I don't believe it. Lu Ku immediately shook his head. Hey, why don't you believe it? Seeing Lu Ku shaking his head so directly, Li Chutong laughed angrily and said, can't I just fall in love? Of course you can date, but there's no need to participate in variety shows. Lu Ku said seriously, even if a celebrity at your level doesn't cover up when it comes to dating, they shouldn't make a big fuss. Besides, participating in dating variety shows, whether or not they succeed in the end, the negative impact on you should be greater than the positive impact. Upon hearing Lu Ku's analysis, a hint of surprise flashed on Li Chutong's face. Because before she participated in Come and Love, her agent also analyzed her in this way. She had intended to casually find an excuse to pass it by, but when she saw the sincerity in Lu Ku's eyes, she couldn't say what was on her lips. Seeing Li Chutong silent, Lu Ku also had an answer in his heart. It is obvious that her participation in this program is not genuine, and there should be other motivations behind it. But those Lu Ku don't care. It seems impossible to pretend to be with Li Chutong on the show. Lu Ku felt a slight loss in his heart. He had originally thought that if Li Chutong's participation in the program was a genuine desire to start a relationship, he would intensify his emotional offensive in the next 2 days and capture Li Chutong's heart with countless classic works on earth. Now it seems that since Li Chutong didn't want to fall in love on the show, there's no need for him to put in any effort here. Just treat this program as an ordinary announcement. Lu Ku thought to himself. After this conversation, Li Chutong found that Lu Ku's attitude had significantly relaxed. Previously, when chatting with him, although Lu Ku had an extraordinary and humorous speech, he still had some restraint in his speech and behavior. But now it's not the case. Whether it's gestures or chatting, he no longer sees himself as a date. Is it because you know that I'm not here to date on the show? Seeing Lu Ku laughing in front of him, completely disregarding his image, Li Chutong couldn't help but feel a hint of resentment in his heart. Please, even though I'm not here to fall in love with you, I'm still a living superstar and beautiful woman. You should have some reservations when facing me, right? However, it was obvious that Lu Ku did not see the resentment in Li Chutong's eyes, and even told a joke about a fly mother and her son eating feces. Li Chutong became even more depressed. In a happy and peaceful atmosphere, the two of them arrived at the suburban farm. Wow, this alpaca is so cute. Entering the farm and seeing several yellow alpacas freely strolling and grazing on the lawn, Li Chutong immediately forgot about his unhappiness and ran over excitedly. Lu Ku naturally followed her side as well. Be careful, this alpaca can spit. Seeing Li Chutong affectionately caressing the fur on the alpaca, Lu Ku instructed. Spitting saliva. Li Chutong was taken aback and said, how did you vomit? Just spit. Luke stretched his neck, puffed up his lips, and learned the posture of an alpaca spitting out saliva. Ha ha ha. Seeing Lu Ku imitating the appearance of an alpaca, Li Chutong was suddenly poked and laughed, lying on top of the alpaca and laughing. Is my posture that funny just now? Seeing Li Chutong laughing so hard that he couldn't stand up, Lu Ku asked Wang Yu with a hint of confusion. Wang Yu also shook his head in confusion, not knowing why Li Chutong suddenly laughed non-stop. After a while, Li Chutong wiped away her tears and stopped laughing, explaining, Your posture just now. It was so funny. As she spoke, Li Chutong also imitated his appearance, stretching her neck and bulging her lips to make a spitting posture. However, halfway through the movement, she couldn't help but burst out laughing again. Ah! Seeing Li Chutong laughing incessantly, Lu Ku couldn't help but say, Li Chutong, please remember that your current identity is a celebrity or a female celebrity. Image. Do you understand? However, no matter what Lu Ku said, Li Chutong just smiled. It wasn't until a few minutes later, when Li Chutong had exhausted himself from laughing, that he stopped laughing. I bet, seeing Li Chutong finally calming down, Lu Ku began to roast. When this episode is broadcasted, Li Chutong laughs will definitely be on hot search, and then your image will disappear. I don't have much image at all. Besides, even if I make it to the hot search, it's because of you. Li Chutong immediately said. No, I can handle it all. Lu Ku looked speechless and said, I just wanted to learn how to spit on an alpaca. Before he could finish speaking, Li Chutong suddenly exclaimed, Stop, don't talk, please, I'll laugh again when you say you want to learn alpacas. After speaking, she turned her head away from looking at Lu Ku and took deep breaths, trying to hold back her laughter. Lu Ku. After a while, Li Chutong finally adjusted his mood and asked, by the way, where were we just talking about? However, after asking the question, Li Chutong waited for a while but saw that Lu Ku was only staring at him and did not answer. What's wrong? Li Chutong asked curiously. Lu Ku blinked and then suddenly bulged his lips to make a sound. Pupu. Ha ha ha. Li Chutong was momentarily taken aback, and then it seemed as if a switch had been turned on, causing him to burst out laughing again as he grabbed onto Ku's arm. However, there was a camera shooting beside him, and Lu Ku dared not show any abnormality. He had to enjoy it secretly while making a helpless expression and saying to the program team, You have to testify to me. I didn't do anything. After a while, Li Chutong finally calmed down. Then, she realized that she had grabbed Lu Ku's arm at some point and almost leaned against him. Feeling shy in her heart, Li Chutong calmly let go of her hand on her face and pretended to be angry, patting Lu Ku. It's all your fault. You insist on making me laugh, don't make me laugh anymore, you know. It's making my makeup look dull. Yes, blame me. Seeing Li Chutong laughing a bit tired, Lu Ku asked, Are you tired? There's a cold drink cellar over there, I'll go buy you some drinks. Well, thank you. Seeing Lu Ku so considerate, Li Chutong felt a warmth in his heart and thanked him with a smile. Lu Ku waved his hand to indicate that there was nothing wrong, and then walked towards the small stall selling cold drinks. However, as soon as he took a few steps, he suddenly stopped. Li Chutong looked at him in confusion, thinking that he had forgotten something. Before she could ask, Lu Ku suddenly bulged his lips again and made a popping sound. Ah! Lu Ku, I'm going to kill you. Li Chutong felt both shy and amused at the sight, shouting and chasing after Lu Ku. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Contact information. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Contact information. I was very happy to meet you today, Lu Ku. Thank you. After the farm date trip, Li Chutong smiled and thanked Lu Ku. It's okay, I'm also very happy. Lu Ku said so, but inwardly sighed, it's just a pity, you don't have the idea of dating. It is impossible to say that there is no idea about a beautiful woman like Li Chutong, but since the other party has already hinted that they do not want to fall in love, Lu Ke naturally will not lick it. So. See you tomorrow. Li Chutong naturally didn't know what Lu Ke was thinking and shook hands with a smile. See you tomorrow. Lu Ke nodded. Oh, by the way, Lu Ke. Just as Lu Ke was about to leave, Li Chutong suddenly stopped him. I don't seem to have your contact information yet, do I? Li Chutong said, send me your WeChat. Okay. Lu Ke was momentarily taken aback and nodded in agreement. Although he didn't understand why Li Chutong needed his own contact information since he didn't want to start dating, the girls had already taken the initiative to ask, and Lu Ke couldn't refuse either. After exchanging WeChat contact information, Li Chutong roast. But Lu Ke, you are really indifferent. Do I need to take the initiative to exchange contact information? Cough, isn't this something we're not quite familiar with yet? We're afraid we'll be rejected if we bring it up. Lu Keqian smiled faintly. He originally had the idea of exchanging contact information with Li Chutong, but after chatting and learning that he didn't want to fall in love on the show, Lu Ke put this idea aside. After all, there was no interaction between the two after they finished the show. Why do you need contact information? Upon hearing this, Li Chutong glanced at Lu Ke but remained silent. Although she only had contact with Lu Ke twice, Li Chutong could feel a sense of pride from Lu Ke. She was certain that if it weren't for her previous request to exchange contact information, even after the recording of the program, Lu Ke wouldn't have made such a request to her. However, Li Chutong won't say these things anymore. After exchanging contact information, he separated from Lu Ke. Chutong, you don't have any intention of dating Lu Ke, do you? As soon as he returned to the nanny car, Li Chutong's agent Tang Xiaofei immediately asked. What is it? Upon hearing Tang Xiaofei's question, Li Chutong remained speechless and said, Sister Fei, don't you know what my current situation is? Where do you have time to date? Oh, don't play around with me. Tang Xiaofei immediately saw Li Chutong's trick. Whether or not you have time to fall in love is different from whether or not you want to fall in love. Seeing that he couldn't fool his shrewd agent, Li Chutong had to be honest and say, I don't know either. I don't know. Upon receiving this answer, Tang Xiaofei's brow furrowed instantly. When a girl is unsure whether she wants to be with a certain boy or not, it actually indicates that she is not resistant to dating that boy, otherwise she would not hesitate at all. Chutong, I know it's normal to find a boyfriend at your age, but after all, you just signed a gambling agreement with the company, and the next 3 years are very important to you. Tang Xiaofei didn't say any words of persuasion, but instead started talking about work. Are you able to jump out of the company from now on, allowing birds to fly in the sky and fish to leap in the sea, or can you only stay in the company and follow the arrangements of the senior management? It's all in these 3 years. You have to take good care of it yourself. Following Li Chutong for nearly a decade, Tang Xiaofei has long been able to fully understand his personality. She knew that if she didn't care about anything and just tried to persuade others, it might actually provoke Li Chutong's rebellious mentality, forcing her to be directly with Lu Ke. With Li Chutong's personality, this is completely possible. However, on the contrary, if you stand in the perspective of Li Chutong and talk to her about your career, let her figure out the degree on her own, this may actually happen. Because Li Chutong is a typical Gemini girl with a strong pursuit of career. As expected, after listening to Tang Xiaofei's analysis, Li Chutong fell into silence. After a while, Li Chutong let out a faint sigh and asked, Fei Jia, where did you see that I have a liking for Lu Ke? Where did you come from? Tang Xiaofei said with an expression of, I have already seen through everything, think for yourself, when was the last time you laughed so heartlessly in front of the opposite sex? When was the last time you took the initiative to exchange contact information with the opposite sex? Is it so obvious? Li Chutong asked with a slight embarrassment. It's not obvious, but I've been with you for almost 10 years. I can still guess some of what you think. Tang Xiaofei explained, then frowned and asked, do you really think Lu Ku is a sociable person? Who knows? Li Chutong leaned his head back on the seat cushion and looked at the car roof without focus. I just feel relaxed and happy when I'm with Lu Ku. And you should also be able to see his talent, Fei Jie. Plus, he's also very handsome. It's not impossible to socialize with him. Upon hearing this, Tang Xiaofei fell silent and suddenly asked, do you have any expectations for tomorrow's date with Lu Ku? It's a bit. Li Chutong thought for a moment and nodded. Sigh. Tang Xiaofei sighed at the words. When a girl starts looking forward to the next meeting with a guy, it means she has fallen into a trap. That is to say, Lu Ku doesn't know about the conversation between Li Chutong and Tang Xiaofei in the car, otherwise he would definitely regret not showing more talent in the previous date. At this moment, Lu Ku, who had just returned home, had just logged into his website account on the Origin Literature Network. 6 axes. The character, Ku, in his name literally means the handle of an axe. Hey, did you sign the contract in just 1 chapter? After entering the back end, Lu Ku was surprised to find that he had received a signed station message. You should know that my predecessor, who worked as an online writer for many years, even the best-performing book received a short contract only after about 10 chapters. However, Lu Ku was just happy about it. After all, with his excellent writing skills, it would be strange if he couldn't even sign a chapter. According to the contract requirements, after signing his personal information online, Lu Ku began to officially code it. Due to the fact that all the plot of Youth Bao Qingtian has been memorized in his mind, Lu Ku's writing speed is not slow. Even if some parts need to be modified, with his full-level writing skills, he can quickly sort them out. For a moment, only the sound of Lu Ku tapping the keyboard could be heard in the room. Ding dong. A few hours later, while coding, Lu Ku heard a message prompt sound coming from his phone. Taking his phone, Lu Ku discovered that it was actually Li Chutong who sent him a message. Li Chutong, what message did she send me? With curiosity, Lu Ku opened WeChat. Then, he saw Li Chutong sending himself a picture. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Xuanran Girl. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Xuanran Girl. Of course, this photo is not a selfie of Li Chutong, but a screenshot of a mobile phone. Weibo hot search list. Lu Ku was slightly puzzled, why did Li Chutong give me a hot search list? But after careful observation, he discovered the problem. I saw the hot search name ranked 10th, which prominently wrote, Li Chutong in love. Playing and laughing with mysterious men. Mysterious man, is that me? Although not clear about the details, Lu Ku knew that the so-called mysterious man in the title should be himself. Exit WeChat, Lu Ku opens Weibo. Oh, did you quickly rise from 10th to 2nd? Watching Li Chutong fall in love. After the word explosive behind the mysterious man's playfulness, Lu Ku could only sigh inwardly, truly deserving of being a top traffic female star. Click to enter the news, and as he expected, the pictures posted by the whistleblower were the ones of themselves and Li Chutong fighting while filming a program. However, the whistleblower was very clever. Although there were many program crew members around Lu Ku and the others during the recording of the program, the photographer only took pictures of Lu Ku and the others. Some photos were difficult to edit by the staff, so they were directly displayed in a mosaic. Moreover, his message did not reveal any intention of taking photos at the program site. So, countless uninformed netizens saw these photos and immediately thought that Li Chutong was really secretly dating a certain boy. At first glance, it looks like an old marketing account. Lu Kipio pouted, I just don't know if there is any shadow of the operation of Li Chutong's company behind this. Lu Ko estimated that for hot searches like this that can easily refute rumors, the companies behind Li Chutong may wish to attract 10 or 8 people in a day. Just as he was secretly guessing, he heard Li Chutong send him another WeChat message. Miss Xuanran. What are your thoughts after reading it? Lu Ko didn't answer for the first time, but stared at Li Chutong's username for a while before asking, did you think of your username? Miss Xuanran said, no, it was one of my good friends who picked it up for me a few days ago. What's wrong? Let me take a look and say, Are you sure you're your good friend? Miss Xuanran. Let me take a look and say, is your friend male or female? Miss Xuanran. Female. What's wrong with this name? Let me take a look and say, cough, there is an idiom called Xuanran. Miss Xuanran. Miss Xuanran. After a moment, Lu Ko saw Li Chutong's name suddenly refresh, changing from Xuanran Miss to Su Taiping goes to death. Who is Su Taiping? Looking at this name, Lu Ko was confused. Ding ling ling. At this moment, Lu Ko's phone rang. Come and Love, the editor of the program team, Wang Yu, called. Hello, Editor Wang, what's wrong? Lu Ko spoke up and asked. It's like this, Mr. Lu. Didn't the pictures of you and Li Chutong recording the program make it to the trending list? After our discussion, we have decided to make a clarification. Wang Yu explained, later, Li Chutong will post a clarification Weibo, which will at both the program team and you. Li Chutong will tell you the specific details. Oh, yes. Lu Ko naturally agreed. After hanging up the phone with Wang Yu, Lu Ko saw that Li Chutong had already sent himself a few more WeChat messages. Su Taiping died and said, alright, the name has been changed. Su Taiping went to death and said, you are absolutely not allowed to tell anyone about this. Su Taiping went to death and said, otherwise, I won't be able to spare you. Su Taiping went to death and said, and don't be fooled. Su Taiping died and said, you can't even dream at night. Su Taiping went to die and said, what? Su Taiping went to death and said, why aren't you talking? Su Taiping went to death and said, did you disconnect? Su Taiping went to die and said, what? Su Taiping went to die and said, what? Looking at the series of messages sent by Li Chutong, Lu Ko wanted to reply immediately, but as soon as his finger touched the screen, his movement suddenly stopped. Wait, Li Chutong seems a bit too enthusiastic towards me. A strange color flashed in Lu Ko's eyes. In fact, when Li Chutong took the initiative to ask for WeChat, Lu Ko noticed something was wrong because if Li Chutong really didn't feel anything about herself and just wanted to participate in the program to play, she shouldn't have taken the action of asking for her contact information, let alone being the one who took the initiative. However, due to the conversation in the car this morning, Lu Ko subconsciously felt that Li Chutong had no thoughts about him, so he didn't think much. But looking at the series of messages sent by Li Chutong at this moment, Lu Ko felt that if he and she were just ordinary friends, Li Chutong would never have done such behavior. Perhaps I haven't had a chance at all. Thinking of this, a hint of anticipation rose in Lu Ko's heart. At this moment, Lu Ko saw Li Chutong sending a series of question marks again. Without much thought, Lu Ko quickly replied, sorry, I just answered the call from the program team. Su Taiping went to die and said, oh, I said, why did you suddenly have no news? Su Taiping went to his death and said, by the way, I was just about to ask you, what do you think about getting on the trending list? Let me take a look and say, look with your eyes. Su Taiping died and said, Su Taiping went to death and said, I'm asking you, how do you feel when you're on the trending list? Let me take a look and say, to be honest, I don't feel much. Su Taiping went to death and said, no feeling. You know how many celebrities in the entertainment industry want to be on the last hot search but can't get it, and you said you didn't feel it. Let me take a look and say, I'm not a member of the entertainment industry, and not being able to make it to the trending topics doesn't affect me. Su Taiping went to Dai and said. Well, I forgot about that. Su Taiping died and said, by the way, the program team just called you and said I want to clarify the Weibo matter, right? Let me take a look and say, I said it. Su Taiping went to Death and said, then send me your Weibo account, and we can interact with each other. Let me take a look and say, okay, do you need me to cooperate with you in sending any content? Su Taiping went to Dai and said, later, I will add you on Weibo and introduce you as my boyfriend. You can also introduce me as your girlfriend. Let me take a look and say, sure. After discussing, Lu Kezheng was preparing to withdraw from WeChat when he saw Li Chutong suddenly send another WeChat message. Su Taiping went to Death and said, no. Accurate. Blind. Thinking. Looking at this message, a smile appeared at the corner of Lu Ke's mouth, and his mind also recalled the amazing softness when Li Chutong grabbed his arm at noon. Miss Xuanran. She really lives up to her name. Thinking about it, Lu Ke moved his fingers slightly and changed Li Chutong's note to Li Xuanran. End of this chapter.